Hi everyone, welcome back to Bible in a Year. My name is Natalie and we are reading the Bible cover to cover. Today is day 17 and we are going to be reading out of Genesis chapter 19, Nehemiah chapter 10, Luke chapter 8, but we are only going to be reading verses 26 through 56, and then we'll close it out with Psalm 15. So I hope everyone's having a great day today. Let's get started. I will be honest with you. I have read this chapter. I think this will be my fifth time. My previous recordings, we tried to include Fred, and he was very distracting, to say the least. So here we go for the final time in my house today. Genesis chapter 19. The two angels came to Sodom at evening. Lot sat in the gate of Sodom. Lot saw them and rose up to meet them. He bowed himself with his face to the earth, and he said, "See now, my lords, please come into your servant's house, stay all night, wash your feet, and you can rise up early and go on your way." They said, "No, but we will stay in the street all night." He urged them greatly, and they came in with him and entered into his house. He made them a feast and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. But before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, surrounded the house, both young and old, all the people from every quarter. They called to Lot and said to him, "Where are the men who came in to you this night? Bring them out to us, that we may have sex with them." Lot went out to them through the door and shut the door after himself. He said, "Please, my brothers, don't act so wickedly. See now, I have 2 virgin daughters. Please let me bring them out to you, and you may do with them what seems good to you. Only don't do anything to these men, because they have come under the shadow of my roof." They said, "Stand back." Then they said, "This one fellow came in to live as a foreigner, and he appoints himself a judge. Now we will deal worse with you than with them." They pressed hard on the man Lot, and came near to break the door. But the men reached out their hand and brought Lot into the house to them and shut the door. They struck the men who were at the door of the house with blindness, both small and great, so that they wearied themselves to find the door. The men said to Lot, "Do you have anybody else here, sons-in-law, your sons, your daughters, and whomever you have in the city? Bring them out of the place, for we will destroy this place, because the outcry against them has grown so great before Yahweh, that Yahweh has sent us to destroy it." Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law, who were pledged to marry his daughters, and said, "Get up, get out of this place, for Yahweh will destroy the city." But he seemed to his sons-in-law to be joking. When the morning came, then the angels hurried to Lot, saying, "Get up, take your wife, your 2 daughters who are here, lest you be consumed in the iniquity of the city." But he lingered, and the men grabbed his hand, his wife's hand, and his 2 daughters' hands, Yahweh being merciful to him, and they took him out and set him outside the city. It came to pass, when they had taken them out, that he said, "Escape for your life. Don't look behind you, and don't stay anywhere in the plain. Escape to the mountains, lest you be consumed." Lot said to them, "Oh, not so, my lord. See now, your servant has found favor in your sight, and you have magnified your loving kindness, which you have shown to me in saving my life. I can't escape to the mountain, lest evil overtake me and I die. See now, the city is near to flee to, and it is a little one. Oh, let me escape there, Isn't it the little one? And my soul will live. He said to him, Behold, I have granted your request concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow the city of which you have spoken. Hurry, escape there, for I can't do anything until you get there. Therefore the name of the city was called Zor. The sun had risen on the earth when Lot came to Zor. Then Yahweh rained on Sodom and Gomorrah sulfur and fire from Yahweh out of the sky. He overthrew those cities, all the plain, all the inhabitants of the cities, and that which grew on the ground. But Lot's wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. Abraham went up early in the morning to the place where he stood before Yahweh. He looked toward Sodom and Gomorrah and toward all the land of the plain, and saw that the smoke of the land went up as the smoke of a furnace. When God destroyed the cities of the plain, God remembered Abraham and set Lot out of the middle of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in which Lot lived. Lot went up out of Zor and lived in the mountain, and his 2 daughters with him, for he was afraid to live in Zor. He lived in a cave with his 2 daughters. The firstborn said to the younger, Our father is old, and there is not a man in the earth to come into us in the way of all the earth. Come, let's let our father drink some wine, and we will lie with him, and we may preserve our father's family line. They made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with her father. He didn't know when she lay down, nor when she arose. It came to pass on the next day that the firstborn said to the younger, Behold, I lay last night with my father. Let's make him drink wine again tonight. You go in and lie with him, that we may preserve our father's family line. They made their father drink wine that night also. The younger went and lay with him. He didn't know when she lay down, nor when she got up. Thus both of Lot's daughters were with child by their father. The firstborn bore a son, and named him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites to this day. The younger also bore a son, and called his name Ben-Ami. He is the father of the children of the Ammon to this day. So that was a lot of information. I never really know what to think when we come across the stories that have been included, other than there is just a ton of wickedness from day one, and people thinking they're doing the right thing. You know, you got Lot's wife looking back, just looking back. I mean, it was probably an amazing sight to see. You got sulfur coming down from the heavens and, you know, basically blowing up a city that she's been living in. It would be hard for me not to double check. I get that. But it wasn't to be so. And then you got Lot's 2 daughters, you know, and they just want to carry on the family name thinking that this is the okay thing to do. It's just, sometimes it's just too much. But we have read it. I personally have read it. That would be my 4th or 5th time today. So we are moving on to Nehemiah 10. Now those who sealed were Nehemiah the governor, the son of Hakaliah, and Zedekiah, Seraiah, Azariah, Jeremiah, Pashur, Amariah, Melchah, Hattush, Shebaniah, Maluk, Harim, Meremoth, Obadiah, Daniel, Ginnathan, Baruch, Meshullam, Abiah, Mihaman, Messiah, Bilgai, and Shemaiah. These were the priests, the Levites, Jeshua, the son of Azaniah, Benai, the sons of Hernadad, Kadmiel, and their brothers Shebaniah, Hodiah, Kelida, Peliah, Hanan, Micah, Rehob, Hashabiah, Zakur, Sherebiah, Shabaniah, Hodiah, Benai, and Beninu. The chiefs of the people, Parash, Pahathamoab, Elam, Zatu, Benai, Bani, Azgad, Bebai, Adoniah, Bigvai, Adin, Ader, Hezekiah, Azur, Hodiah, Hashem, Bazai, Hariph, Anathoth, Nobai, Magapiash, Meshullam, Hezer, Meshezabel, Zadok, Jaddua, Pelatiah, Hanan, Ananiah, Hosea, Hananiah, Hashab, Haloesh, Pilah, Shobek, Raham, Hashabnah, Messiah, Ahiah, Hanan, Anan, Maluk, Haram, and Banah. The rest of the people, the priests, the Levites, the gatekeepers, the singers, the temple servants, and all those who had separated themselves from the peoples of the lands to the law of God, their wives, their sons, and their daughters, everyone who had knowledge and understanding, joined with their brothers, their nobles, and entered into a curse and into an oath to walk in God's law, which was given by Moses, the servant of God, and to observe and do all the commandments of Yahweh our Lord, and his ordinance, and his statutes, and that we would not give our daughters to the peoples of the land, nor take their daughters for our sons. And if the peoples of the land bring wares of any grain on the Sabbath day to sell, that we would not buy from them on the Sabbath or on the holy day, and that we would forego the 7th year crops and the exaction of every debt. Also, we made ordinances for ourselves to charge ourselves yearly with the 3rd part of a shekel for the service of the house of our God, for the showbread, for the continual meal offering, for the continual burnt offering, for the Sabbaths, for the new moons, for the set feasts, for the holy things, for the sin offerings, to make atonement for Israel, and for all the work of the house of our God. We, the priests, the Levites, and the people, cast lots for the wood offering, to bring it into the house of our God according to our fathers' houses, at times appointed year by year, to burn on Yahweh our God's altar, as it is written in the law, and to bring the first fruits of our ground, and the first fruits of all fruit of all kinds of trees, year by year, to Yahweh's house. also the firstborn of our sons and of our livestock, as it is written in the law, and the firstborn of our herds and of our flocks, to bring to the house of our God, to the priests who minister in the house of our God, and that we should bring the firstfruits of our dough, our wave offerings, the fruit of all kinds of trees, and the new wine and the oil to the priests, to the rooms of the house of our God, and the tithes of our ground to the Levites, for they, the Levites, take the tithes in all our farming villages. The priests, the descendants of Aaron, shall be with the Levites when the Levites take tithes. The Levites shall bring up the tithe of the tithes to the house of our God, to the rooms and to the treasurer's house. For the children of Israel and the children of Levi shall bring the wave offering of the grain, and of the new wine, and of the oil, to the rooms where the vessels of the sanctuary are, and the priests who minister with the gatekeepers and the singers. We will not forsake the house of our God. Yeah, so they are really trying to get it right this time. The Old Testament was filled with the law of Moses and all the rules and regulations and all the offerings at specific times and for specific sins on specific days. And, while it is appropriate to be worshiping God all day, every day, asking for forgiveness every day, the law of Moses took it to a whole nother level. And just knowing how I walk in my life, it makes sense why we could not handle it. It was a lot. And then Jesus came. He came to do a do-over. So this is Luke chapter 8, 26 through 56. When they arrived at the country of the Gadarenes, which is opposite Galilee, when Jesus stepped ashore, a certain man out of the city who had demons for a long time met him. He wore no clothes and didn't live in a house, but in the tombs. When he saw Jesus, he cried out and fell down before him, and with a loud voice said, "What do I have to do with you, Jesus, you Son of the Most High God? I beg you, don't torment me." For Jesus was commanding the unclean spirit to come out of the man, for the unclean spirit had often seized the man. He was kept under guard and bound with chains and fetters. Breaking the bounds apart, he was driven by the demon into the desert. Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" He said, "Legion," for many demons have entered into him. They begged him that he would not command them to go into the abyss. Now there was there a herd of many pigs feeding on the mountain, and they begged him that he would allow them to enter into those. Then he allowed them. The demons came out of the man and entered into the pigs, and the herd rushed down the steep bank into the lake and were drowned. When those who fed them saw that when they saw what had happened, they fled and told it in the city and in the country. People went out to see what had happened. They came to Jesus and found the man from whom the demons had gone out, sitting at Jesus' feet, clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. Those who saw it told them how he who had been possessed by the demons was healed. All the people of the surrounding city of the Gadarenes asked him to depart from them, for they were very much afraid. Then he entered into the boat and returned. But the man from whom the demons had gone out begged him that he might go with him, but Jesus sent him away. He said, "Return to your house and declare what great things God has done for you." He went his way, proclaiming throughout the whole city what great things Jesus had done for him. When Jesus returned, the multitude welcomed him, for they were all waiting for him. Behold, a man named Jairus came. He was a ruler of the synagogue. He fell down at Jesus' feet and begged him to come into his house, for he had an only-born daughter, about 12 years of age, and she was dying. But as he went, the multitudes pressed up against him. A woman who had flow of blood for 12 years, who had spent all her living on physicians and could not be healed by any, came behind him and touched the fringe of his cloak. Immediately the flow of her blood stopped. Jesus said, "Who touched me?" When all denied it, Peter and those with him said, "Master, the multitudes press and jostle you, and you say, 'Who touched me?'" But Jesus said, "Someone did touch me, for I perceive that power has gone out of me." When the woman saw that she was not hidden, she came trembling and falling down before him, declared to him in the presence of all the people the reason why she had touched him, and how she was healed immediately. He said to her, "Daughter, cheer up. Your faith has made you well, and go in peace." While he still spoke, one from the ruler of the synagogue's house came, saying to him, "Your daughter is dead. Don't trouble the teacher." But Jesus, hearing it, answered him, "Don't be afraid. Only believe, and she will be healed." When he came to the house, he didn't allow anyone to enter in except for Peter, John, James, the father of the child, and her mother. All were weeping and mourning her, but he said, "Don't weep. She isn't dead, but sleeping." They were ridiculing him, knowing that she was dead. But he put them all outside, and taking her by the hand, he called, saying, "Child, arise." Her spirit returned, and she rose up immediately. He commanded that something be given her to eat. Her parents were amazed, but he commanded them not to tell anyone what had been done. He is the healer. He is forever patient with us. Oh, he loves us so much. And moving on to Psalm 15, this is a psalm by David. Yahweh, who shall dwell in your sanctuary? Who shall live on your holy hill? He who walks blamelessly and does what is right and speaks truth in his heart. He who doesn't slander with his tongue, nor does evil to his friend, nor casts slurs against his fellow man. In whose eyes a vile man is despised, but who honors those who fear Yahweh. He who keeps an oath even when it hurts and doesn't change. He who doesn't lend out his money for usury, nor take a bribe against the innocent. He who does these things shall never be shaken. Well, my friends, that was an interesting day. Hopefully not to be repeated. Some of these stories, they really bother me, but it is history. We have to know what was going on in those days. If we don't understand what was going on in those days, there's no understanding for why Jesus even had to come. We have to know. And so we read them. And then we don't read them again for a while. So thank you for joining me on day 17. Please come on back tomorrow for day 18. And I hope you have a wonderful day today. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.